Okay, Todd, we're here again with my good friend Todd Stillberg. And it may not come as much of a surprise, but Todd tends to know food plots. Okay. Well, I'm struggling with exactly how to put this, but I think the best way I can phrase it is what you plant is important. It's very important, but equally important is having it in areas that deer feel safe, that they're willing to utilize this stuff. Because frankly, it doesn't matter if you can somehow plant an 80% protein producer, if the deer ain't eating it, they ain't getting any good at it. What can we do to maximize, what are some things we can do to maximize usage of our food plots?
Well, not only maximize the usage, but also help in hunting those deer because,
Exactly.
as you know well as I do, if a deer knows he's being hunted, it becomes a huge challenge.
Yes,
we
it
can turn
does.
them nocturnal and go on and on and on. It gets to be just a huge challenge. So we actually came out with a product this year called Barricade, and it's a screen basically. It's an annual, a number of annual species that grows very fast, can get to be 8 feet tall. And so you could use it to screen off your food plots. You could use it to screen your entry or exit to and from a tree stand. And I've got firsthand experience this year with success and failure with that.
Elaborate.
So I had a farm that we were hunting, and I had a gentleman that raises beef cattle, had a disastrous forage crop, and wanted to know if I'd be willing to sell him some of my forage so that he could cut it and bale it for his cattle. And I said, yeah, that's fine. Well, his son came in and cut it, and he happened to cut my Barricade also at the same time. So on that farm, which we had the most number of mature bucks we've ever had on that farm, so the excitement level for me and my family was through the roof. Well, what happened is basically every time we entered and hunted stands on that farm, we were seen by the deer. And it was the absolute worst season we've ever had.
Doesn't take long, does it?
Oh man, there was no hiding. And so we entered and hunt, we exited and hunt, and we were, seen all the time. Conversely, on another farm, I planted the Barricade, and 5 days into our gun deer season was sitting overlooking a plot, and there wasn't a deer on that farm that knew season was even going on. But we were able to totally screen ourselves from entering and exiting stands.
Quick question, how big was that farm?
That farm was about 350 acres.
Okay, so we're not talking we're not talking a utopia here that is sprawling 3,500 acre. We're talking about, I mean, a little on the large side, but we're talking about a real world property
It's
here.
real world, yep.
Yeah. And that really helps to illustrate how much our impact actually impacts not only how much nutrition these whitetails are getting, but how much nutrition we're getting in the freezer. Because frankly, when they know they're being hunted, they ain't spending a lot of time out there eating, especially not during daylight.
No.
Okay, so a plot screen can make a big difference with that. And also, as an added bonus, you screen off that plot, and what does that buck have to do?
He's got to work harder.
He can't sit there 300 yards away and, oh, there's no does in there, I'm going to keep, he actually has to go in that plot, doesn't he? And that works out real nice when your stand happens to be covering that opening. Okay, and then also take it another step and really think about where you're putting these plots. It is almost never the easiest place equaling the best. It's almost all, this is our greatest weapon right here. Mm-hmm. That is, we talk about our primitive weapon muzzleloaders that can do groups like this at 300 yards these days. They're awesome. But what is our greatest weapon is our power of analytical thought and analysis. And we can go ahead and lay this stuff out in ways that we can get to those stands with a little bit of screening. Or ideally, we can get to those stands without anything. because we can backdoor, but it takes laying all this stuff out and to actually think about how you're going to hunt this location. How are the deer going to get into it? How are you going to get into it? What's your safe wind? How are you going to get out? You add all that type of stuff together, and all of a sudden, you're not going through your Yuba Farm experience. You're going through the other one, where there it is on a real world property, the middle of Wisconsin's firearm season, and these deer don't even know they're being hunted.
Didn't have a clue. You know, the other way we used it very successfully on that other farm is, you know, if you plant an 8-foot wide screen that's 8 feet tall and thick, deer are not going to go through that.
Makes a great barricade.
But if I want
doesn't
them,
it?
if I want them to come out in one corner of the field, I just knock that area down.
Yeah.
And you know what? You know, you've mowed trails in the woods, and deer have a tendency to take the path of least resistance.
You darn right. Why do I
So-
want to go through this jungle when I want to that I can see this fire in front of my face to see what's on that other side when I can walk over to this opening right here. Now, granted, there happens to be a tree stand 15 yards away, but from right there, I can go through there. I'm not going to be surprised at what's at the other side. I can see it from a distance. Todd, thank you. I don't think we can exaggerate the critical nature of this. And that is, yes, high quality food plotting materials make all the difference in the world, but so does being in the right place. When you marry those two together, now you got something.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, my friend.